There are some questions that have been with mankind from the dawn of time. Things that we've pondered over and over again that have lingered with us in our minds. When a tree falls in the forest, does anyone hear if no one's around? Which came first, the chicken or the egg? And now thinking about that chicken, why did he cross the road? These thoughts are something that they just stay with us. Why? I do not know. But there's one question I do want to talk about today. It's the whole discussion of nature versus nurture. And so the question is, did he behave that way just because he's born that way, or is it something that he learned? And so thinking about communication, I find that people fall into two distinct categories if we boil it down. They communicate in a direct fashion or an indirect fashion. For example, Mehdi, grab that Toastmaster manual magazine for me. Thank you. An indirect method would be, Mehdi, could you please, you see one of the magazines, could you grab that for me and hand it to me? Just, it's same communication, same thing I'm communicating, but there's a different presentation, different follow through. And thinking about this, nature versus nurture, this falls in the realm of asserting yourself effectively. Being assertive is a core communication skill. It means you express yourself effectively and stand up for your point of view, while also respecting the rights and beliefs of others. There are three ways that people typically respond to maybe conflict or something that annoys them and bothers them. Typically, maybe they're passive, meaning they just ignore it and deal with it. They are passive aggressive, so they try to find a solution on their own. They don't address the person who caused the problem. They just handle it themselves and then have resentment for the person later. And then there's the aggressive person. They are all too willing to confront the person, and usually it ends not in a good situation. These are what I call bad methods. That's a scientific term. These methods lead to resentment. They increase stress in the environment and atmosphere, and they produce repressed anger. Assertiveness is a better communication style. When you assert yourself, when you're communicating, and you do it effectively, you show yourself, you have self-respect for yourself, because you're showing that you value your own opinion, your own ideas, and your own feelings enough to share them with others. And the fact that you see value in them, you know that other people deserve to hear them. But you're also aware of other people's ideas and their opinions as well. And so you take their concerns and their feelings into consideration when you're communicating with them. But I want you to know that it's about, not just about what you say, but it's about how you say it. See, you can communicate with someone in a way, in a tone of voice, or with your gestures that turn them completely off. We're talking about asserting ourselves, but if you do it in the wrong way, disrespectfully, they won't hear your message, and they'll just react or respond to the way you delivered your message. What I found is that when you're looking to assert yourself effectively, people who are passive in their communication style, they give people permission to disregard and completely dismiss their feelings and their opinions, because they don't take the time and attention to display or to communicate their ideas. But when people are aggressive, they're completely disrespectful to other people, and therefore people lose trust in them, and people start to resent them. It pushes people away. And so, how do you deal with this? How do you assert yourself effectively? I have 4 methods. This is what I would call the process of assertion. First, you have to state the problem. And this is key. You have to know that there is a problem, but you have to make it be known. This is key because the issue is, the problem is your problem. Whenever you're thinking about asserting yourself, this is something that someone else is doing that's bothering you. They don't have a problem with it. They're comfortable doing exactly what they're doing. You have the problem, and you want to address it that way. Next, you want to express to people, tell them exactly how you feel, how it affects you, and what they're doing, and what they're saying. Let them know how it affects you personally. This is, in one way, an appeal to their emotion. And then you want to communicate a specific solution. And this is key, that is to be a specific solution. You don't want to just be general and say, man, could you keep quiet or quiet down? You want to be specific and say exactly what it is that you're seeking so that there will be no miscommunication of what it is that you need from them. And then let them know what the benefits are. Let them know if they concede or move to your appeal, how it will result and how you'll benefit from it. These are the 4 steps of asserting yourself effectively. And if you go through them and do it in a respectful manner, you will be effective in that. So think about it, nature versus nurture. No matter if you naturally communicate in a direct fashion or indirect fashion, being assertive is something that we can all learn. And it's vital to your communication. If you learn this, it will help you be more successful in life. Now I want to transition from my speech portion to my role play. And I'm going to I'll go ahead and call on Keith. And if you, okay, great. Keith's going to come up here. Now this portion is about 3 to 4 minutes presentation. We're just going to give you an example of what asserting yourself effectively will look like. Keith is a co-worker of mine. He loves to jam his music, and he hums and sings along to it at work and taps on his desk. This is annoying me, and it's preventing me from reaching my goal of completing my report. Hey Keith, how you doing, man?
I'm good.
Good. I'm doing pretty good. What are you listening to?
This is actually the new jazz CD I just got.
Oh, that's incredible.
You want to listen? Want a copy?
I might need to get a copy later. Right now, though, I'm working on a report that our supervisor needs in 2 hours, and I'm kind of behind.
Somebody can help you with that?
One thing you could do, honestly, would be a great help.
I like the CD though.
If you could, the music, I love jazz, and I can appreciate it just like you do. Do you mind kind of keeping it quiet a little bit? I mean, not that. Well, just the tapping and the humming. I mean, you got a good singing voice, but the humming and sound.
You want me to sing?
Not right now. I'm just saying, I have this report I need to complete in the next 2 hours. It'd be really helpful if you kind of just quiet down a little bit, and then we can jam later.
That's cool. That's cool. I didn't mean to interrupt you. I'm sorry.
Thank you. I really appreciate it because as a matter of fact, what happened? Once I complete this report, maybe I'll get done early. We can jam together.
Yeah, you got it here.
And I'm gonna let our supervisor know how much you helped me do this.
That's cool. I need some of that. I ain't doing much, so I need that.
All right, thanks, man.
Thank you. Y'all want to hear this?
And so that just a representation of asserting yourself effectively. And what we did, we addressed the issue, stated the problem, just the tapping, the humming, and then we let him know how it affected us, and let him know specifically what we wanted him to do about it, and the benefit of what would happen if he did go ahead and did that. And so those are things we communicated. Now, I want to open it up to you guys. How have you been impacted by different situations where you needed to assert yourself, and how maybe some of these tips could have helped you in those situations?
I had this guy today tell me he was going to be at the location at 11 o'clock. He didn't show up till 11:30. He's supposed to let me know before he starts. He started anyway, so I had all these alerts going through the network, which can trigger automatic tickets. He just would not tell me. So this afternoon I'm going to be talking to him about how that affects my job and how that's not going to work out.
Absolutely.
We'll be talking about that shortly.
The perfect time to assert yourself in a respectful manner, not be passive and let it fly. Address the issue so that he knows that it affects you in a negative way and communicate it to him.
I have a question for you.
Yes.
What would you do if all this failed?
If it all fails, first I want to always be respectful of the other person, because there's, like you said, it's something that's bothering me, so I'm asking them to change their behavior. But if it does fail, I might have to appeal to a higher authority.
You gave exactly the right answer. You go through the process, and then if all else fails, you go to God, or whoever is sitting up there in the department head.
Yes.
Whoever is God at that moment.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. Well, any other questions, thoughts?
I guess, how would you deal with the spouse in that kind of sense where...
That is a very good question, dealing with your spouse. And I think this is probably where we, in our personal relationships, deal with the most. Just thinking about the issues, state the problem. Because too often, and before I even go there, one of the things that we, in our relationships, we respond to the tone of voice, or we respond to the delivery more than even what's said. And so that's the key. If you can kind of keep your tone in a pleasant, agreeable way, that makes a big difference.
That's right.
But then, and so that delivery, but also thinking about that, state the problem, be clear about what it is the problem is, and let them know how it makes you feel. Especially if it's a male to a female, usually they appreciate, understand, okay, it makes me feel this way, and how it affects me. And then let them know the benefits. If they can see that, man, it'll help me so much, I'll feel so much better, it'll give me so much more confidence. Help them see them helping you, and maybe they'll move it along. Well, thank you guys for your time.